Alright, let's dive into something that's been buzzing in the NFL world recently. And trust me, it's more fascinating than it sounds on the surface. So the Minnesota Vikings just restructured TJ Hockenson's contract, and personally, I think this move is a masterclass in cap management, but it also raises some bigger questions about the team's strategy. Here's the deal. They freed up $5 million in cap space for 2026. Sounds like a small number, right? But what makes this really interesting is the context behind it. The Vikings have been on a cap-clearing spree lately, releasing multiple veterans, and this move with Hockenson is just the latest piece of that puzzle. From my perspective, this isn't just about saving money. It's about reshaping the team's future, especially after last year's all-in push to build around J.J. McCarthy. Now let's talk about Hockenson for a second. The guy was the 8th overall pick in 2019, traded to the Vikings in 2022, and he's been solid if not spectacular. Last season he had 51 catches for 438 yards and 3 touchdowns. Decent numbers, but not exactly game-changing. But here's where it gets intriguing. His best season was actually in 2023, with 95 catches for 960 yards and 5 touchdowns. So the Vikings are clearly betting on his potential, even if his production dipped a bit last year. What many people don't realize is that tight ends often take time to fully develop in the NFL, and Hockenson is still just 26. If you take a step back and think about it, this restructure could be a long-term play to keep him as a key piece of the offense while they figure out their quarterback situation. And speaking of quarterbacks, this brings us to the bigger picture. The Vikings' cap-clearing moves are a direct result of their aggressive roster building around McCarthy last year. But now, their most pressing need is finding a competent backup, or maybe even someone to push McCarthy for the starting job. This raises a deeper question. Are the Vikings confident enough in McCarthy to build around him, or are they hedging their bets? Personally, I think this offseason will be a make-or-break moment for the team's front office. They've got the cap space now, but how they use it will define their future. One thing that immediately stands out is how the Vikings are balancing short-term needs with long-term goals. Restructuring Hockenson's contract isn't just about saving money. It's about keeping a versatile player in the fold, while they navigate their quarterback uncertainty. A detail I find fascinating is that his 2026 cap number was originally set to be over $21 million. That's a massive number for a tight end, even one with his potential. By restructuring, the Vikings are essentially buying time to see if he can return to his 2023 form. What this really suggests is that they're not ready to give up on him, even as they trim fat elsewhere on the roster. In my opinion, this move is a smart one, but it's also a risky one. The Vikings are betting that Hockenson can bounce back, and that their quarterback situation will stabilize. If it works out, they'll look like geniuses. If not, they'll be back at square one. What makes this story so compelling is that it's not just about one player or one contract. It's about the broader strategy of a team trying to stay competitive in a league where every dollar counts. So here's my closing thought. As we watch the Vikings navigate this offseason, keep an eye on how they balance their cap space with their roster needs. It's going to be a wild ride, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out. What do you think? Are the Vikings making the right moves? Or are they setting themselves up for trouble down the line? Let me know in the comments below.